As Malay Roim says about this Rashi. Hafim hifkir es boro gam came chayiv. Even if he would mafkir the bor, he would also be chayiv. Here Rashi says he was mafkir reshuso. Even if he would mafkir the bor itself, he'd also be chayiv. If he mishim chayiv al bor b'rishus rabim. According to that one who is going to be chayiv on a bor that's dug in the rishus rabim, like Rashi wrote above. She'af behefker rishuso uboroi yesh lechayvoi. Even if he's going to be mafkir his rishus and the bor, we're going to be machayev him where he put a tekola in rishus rabim. The bor, here's not the rishus rabim. The bor she'ein hachiyuv yishum shebishas hanezik haya bor shaloi. So it comes out over here that the chiyuv is not, he is chayiv, but his chiyuv is not on account of the fact that at the time of the nezek the bor was his. Ella, because it wasn't his, because he was mafkir it, apparently. That's what Rashi is saying when he says im hifkir rishuso. In spite of that, he's going to be liable. Why is he going to be liable?
Once he mafkes everything, isn't it then becoming a rishus rabim, and therefore born rishus rabim, somewhat you're responsible for? Ish digs bor.
And the mishum shenosan tekola b'rishus rabim.
He's made a bor in rishus rabim.
But he didn't make the bor.
No, but he mafkes it. Once he mafkes it, that's the checking. You're right. You got to check it. It becomes his.
Well, we just said he didn't own it. It wasn't his. It was never his.
He's making it to color.
But he didn't make it.
Isn't it digging like what you call it? That not filling in is like digging.
You said
not filling it in his property.
You said it was like he dug it because he was obligated to fill it in.
Right.
Why was he obligated to fill it in? Because he owned it. But
right.
Now we're saying he didn't own it. So according to this understanding, we have a question. How can you say he was obligated when he didn't own it?
I think this is saying what you're saying, but he said even if he didn't own it, it's still responsible. That's what it's saying.
Okay.
It's even though it doesn't seem like he owned it, he's responsible.
Right. So why is that?
Because he didn't fill it in.
Because he didn't fill it in.
Because he didn't take care of it.
A bor that his animal would dig in the rishus rabim, he has no obligation to fill in. This is the patur of the pasuk of Kiyichra ish bor.
Right.
But Rashi's saying that patur will not apply over here.
Right.
Because that's talking about a bor in the rishus rabim.
Right.
So this was not a bor that was dug in the rishus rabim. This is a bor that was dug on the property of the Baal HaChotzer. Baal HaChotzer, that is his responsibility to fill it in.
Why?
Because it's his property. It's not rishus rabim. The patur of Kiyichra ish bor below shore bor is a patur, Rashi says, on a bor that was dug in rishus rabim. Because then there's no responsibility. It's not his, and therefore he's responsible to fill it in. The implication of Rashi is that in this case, where it is his property, it's not the rishus rabim. Implication is that it's the day and it's ramya alei lemeluye.
Okay, so
that's what the mission. That's what the Gemora says. The Gemora says that.
So he owns the bor.
So now, so back to the question again. Okay, so why does he have to say? Why Rashi have to say in hifkir rishuso? So you're saying because that shows that he knows that it was there.
Right.
Okay.
Or that
All right.
shows that he's responsible to have known it. He should have found out it was there, because that process of hefkering the courtyard requires him to take certain due diligence.
Okay. Okay. All right. Enough of this. Okay, if I get something clear, I'll let you know. I don't know what this Malaram is. I don't know what he wants to really say.
So we don't. So the other
very
question.
much why Rashi's saying this. If the Rishus, I don't know what he's saying this for.
Right. So the other question was, if we say that the homeowner owns the bore in the first case, why don't we say that he owns the bore in the second case?
What do you call it in the second case?
What's the dung? Why don't we say that the dung is in his
You can say
reshus,
that.
and therefore he owns it?
You can say that.
No, we can't.
You can say it. The real reason he's putter is because it's dung and it's kalim. That's why he's putter. Not because he is responsible.
If it's his bore, if he owns it,
Right.
then we're not going to say anything about his liability to pay him for damage by his own bore. You don't say
but
somebody else paid for damage by
We're
his
just talking about a bore. Is it his bore or is it not his bore?
If it's his bore,
Fine.
then don't discuss damage.
Okay.
There's no issue of damage if it's his bore. Since it's discussing damage, it implies that it's not his bore. Why not? That's the question.
Well, it is a bore. We're claiming it is a bore. We're not saying it's not a bore.
I didn't say it wasn't a bore. I said it's not his bore. Why isn't it his bore? In the first case, we said that the bore becomes his bore because it's in his property.
The question is,
Why don't we say in the second case that the bore becomes his bore because it's in his property?
it can very well be his bore. Why isn't it his bore?
It isn't his bore because we're discussing he gets damaged by it. You don't discuss if somebody gets damaged by his own bore.
No, the question is if he gets damaged by a bore, the question is now that the ruling is that it's transferred to his bore, as opposed to it remaining the bore of the caused by the Baal Shur on the other side.
Right. If it's the Baal Shur's bore, then we can discuss damage
Right.
to the Baal Chotzer.
Right.
If it's the Baal Chotzer's bore, then there's no reason to discuss damage to the Baal Chotzer. It's his own bore. So
Well,
therefore, the implication
Sure,
is it's
case
not
you're
his own
talking
bore.
But I'm not sure what case you're talking about.
The first case, we said that the bore that was dug by the shore is owned by the owner of the chotzer. The second case, we have a bore that was created by the shore, which is the dung. And the question is, why isn't that also owned by the Baal Chotzer? For the same reason.
And there's also two time periods. There's the Shas Nefila and the Echad.
I mean, very simply, the Takala in the first case
Yes.
is in the karka. The karka is owned by the owner of the chotzer.
Right.
Just because, let me ask you a question. I got a basketball. I bring it into this guy's chotzer and I put it down on the chotzer. Does he own my basketball now because it's in his chotzer? No, he doesn't own he doesn't own the basketball. It's mine. So when his animal puts down glau in his chotzer, it doesn't belong to the Baal chotzer.
Because it's not in the ground. You're saying there's
It's not the ground. The ground belongs to the Baal chotzer, but the glau that was put there by his animal belongs to the owner of the animal.
As opposed to the pit, which was dug by the animal, which you're saying that's because that's in the land. Then it's different.
Yeah, the land is the Takala. The land is the property of the
I hear.
Baal chotzer. Okay.
Okay, Shkok, I'm gonna go watch out for some glowing in the street.
Be careful. Be careful. It's
don't wanna
a
do
dangerous
that.
world out there.
Usually is. You know.
All two.
Dog
There you
glow.
Yeah.
For the cat glow.
At least that's smaller.
Absolutely. Don't go around any elephants.
Okay.
All right. right, weiter.
Weiter, let's go weiter, right? That's what we're going to do right now. V'amar Rava, the third case of Rava. Roy, please read for us.
Now I'm presuming that the he changes. In the first case, he is the owner of the ox. In the second case, he is the owner of the courtyard. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, it's all one, it's a 3-word phrase. Eziku Baal Habayis. The Baal Habayis is the one who's doing the hezek.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the hezek to this person who brought his animal into the chotzer. Or no, he didn't bring an animal over here. He himself went into the chotzer. This is a case that has nothing to do with animals. So, right?
Oh, right. It's actually the trespasser.
He himself, the trespasser. The first case is that he came into the chotzer balabais, trespassing without reshut, and he did hezek to the balabais.
Mm-hmm.
Or the balabais was huzak bo. On account of the fact that this person was there, the balabais was damaged by him, tripped over him, or he somehow.
The first case is the trespasser bumps into the balabais and knocks him down. And the second case is the balabais trips over the leg of the trespasser and falls down. Those are good examples?
Okay, good.
Okay.
In those cases, the owner, not the owner, but the trespasser is going to be liable for damages.
And the third case is the homeowner bumps into the trespasser and knocks him down. And the homeowner is exempt. He doesn't have to pay the trespasser because he broke his leg when he knocked him down. Correct?
Right. Let's see Rashi, the Hezik of... is that the Rashi, the Hezik? We have in our Gemora Heziko. Rashi just has the Hezik.
I have the chazik. I don't have the chaziko.
Unless this is the Hezik as balabais.
That's what I have. The chazik as balabais.
Yeah, that's what the Rashi's talking. Yeah. So it's talking about the cases where the trespasser does damage to the balabais. So the din is he's liable, the trespasser, for damage done to the balabais. What does Rashi have to say? What do we want to read?
If I can find it. I see chuzak.
One right above that. 2 lines above.
Where is it? I see chuzak here.
The Hezik.
Oh, that's it.
The next one is Huzak.
Oh, got it. The chazik.
This one is Hezik. So this is the first case. He did Hezik means that he did damage to him actively. He did active damage to the guy.
Right. Kari bein hatikavein bein she'ein mitikavein hu mihu biyadim haziko.
Right.
So we call it whether he had intention or he did not have intention, and the one who, with his hand, did the damage. We call it damage whether the one who did the damage had intention or not.
We call it that he did it biyadayim. We call it active damage.
Oh, active, okay.
Biyadayim means active damage, that he actively damaged. Biyadayim, we call it, it's a little bit convoluted of a sentence if you ask me, but
Yeah,
the Kori is going on biyadayim, I believe.
right.
It's called active damage whether it was done with intent and design or whether it was done unintentionally.
Okay.
Nevertheless, it's called biyadayim. That the damage was done. It was the damage was done actively. Doesn't matter what his kavanah was.
Right. V'chuzak. Shezeh haya omeid b'mekomo uba bal habayis v'niskal bo.
Right.
So this was that he was standing at his place,
Right.
and the owner of the courtyard
Right.
came along and got damaged.
Right.
The niskal bo. The niskal is to be damaged. Niskal.
Niskal doesn't mean damage. Niskal literally means that he slipped or tripped.
Oh, he tripped on him.
Yeah, he came to a Niskal is from the word tekala. Tekala we said is like a
Obstacle.
yeah. He right.
And he was obstacled by him.
Yeah, it's not right. It's not really an English word like that.
So the trespasser made himself an obstacle, so to speak.
Right. But what's the difference? What's the difference that Rashi's explaining in this case and the case before? Right. This is passive damage.
Right.
He's omid b'makomo. He's standing in his place, and the balabayis is the one who's moving, and he is niskabo. He comes to a tekala. He comes to an obstacle and is injured on account of that. Okay. Those are the cases that Rashi says. The other way around is Pater. Okay. That brings us to.
And it doesn't make any difference in the case of the homeowner damaging the trespasser. It doesn't matter whether it's active or passive.
Well,
But
what's
it doesn't matter either
haziko?
case.
What's haziko? What does the word haziko imply? How do you translate haziko? In other words, what's the difference between the word hazik and huzak?
Oh, hizik is active.
Right. Haziko with a vav
Mhm.
means he damaged him.
Right.
We're emphasizing the fact that it was the other way around now.
Right.
The first two cases we're talking about damage that was done by the trespasser.
Right.
So we
what I'm
said-
getting at is why in the first case do we have to have two parts, active and passive? When we're talking about the trespasser, with the homeowner getting damaged, we have active and passive.
Right.
When we're talking about the trespasser getting damaged, we don't distinguish. We just say the active. Does that imply that passive is not responsible?
Well, what's the din in this case where the owner we're talking about where the owner actively damaged the trespasser?
He's exempt.
Right.
So kol v'chomer if you passively.
Yeah.
So we don't need to
to
say
be
it.
told that case.
Well, can't we make the same kol v'chomer argument in the other case? If the trespasser actively damaged the homeowner, and we say he's
No, you can't make
Oh,
that.
you can't make it. Right, I see.
I thought you were asking the other way around. Say that if he's crouched and he trips over him, he's also liable, and it's kal v'chomer if he actively damaged him.
Right. Right. Yeah, well, we could say that.
Okay. Right.
So there's a lack of symmetry here that, I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Right. The first, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah, why is there that difference?
Oh, so my footnote says something interesting. It says since he had no right to be there, he's liable even if he was passive. So maybe that
Oh, that's going on the
on
ratio.
first, right? So that principle is not applicable to the sefer.
No.
So maybe that's why the sefer doesn't need to be more explicit. Because the right to be there is not an issue in any case of the homeowner doing damage. Or you can say the right to be there is always an issue in both cases. No, that doesn't make sense. I'm confused again.
Well, generally we say that when a person does damage actively with his own body or
Right.
instrumentality
Right.
to another person, he's liable no matter what, even in a case of an onus. So it's a chiddush really to say over here that the balabais is potter. That's what that's what's bothering the commentators. So one answer is given is that Tamsha balabais potter hu mishum shaniknes posheya. The reason why the balabais who actively damaged him with his own body is nevertheless exempt on that damage that he did is because the other guy is at fault. He came in to the place without permission.
Right.
And so therefore, he's the one that better be careful not to get damaged.
Right.
Because he's entering at his own risk, the Kitzer.
Right.
He's entering at his own risk.